In the day's other headlines, ABC is reinstating Jimmy Kimmel's late night show. The network had suspended the comedian indefinitely after comments he made following the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. In a statement, ABC's parent company, the Walt Disney Company, said, quote, "We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday." Kimmel's suspension had sparked protests and concerns about free speech in the aftermath of Kirk's killing, with a number of celebrities and Kimmel's fellow late-night comedians among those who rallied to his defense. Kimmel has hosted Jimmy Kimmel Live since 2003. His contract is set to expire in May of next year. At a UN summit today, France joined a growing list of countries in recognizing a Palestinian state.
I declare that today, France recognizes the state of Palestine.
French President Emmanuel Macron's announcement follows similar moves by the UK, Canada, and others over the weekend, and was followed soon after by Belgium. Israel and the U.S. boycotted today's event, with Israel's UN ambassador dismissing it as theater. Meantime, Israel is continuing its offensive in Gaza City, which it considers one of the last strongholds for Hamas. Some Gazans say the recognition of a Palestinian state does little to help the situation on the ground.
Where is the state? In the street or in the tents? What state is this that they recognize? Are we able to find something to eat or a place to stay? Leave it to God.
Even before today's summit, roughly 150 of the UN's 193 member states considered Palestine a sovereign nation, though in many cases such recognition is largely symbolic. In Egypt, authorities announced a presidential pardon today for activist Alaa Abdel Fattah. The British-Egyptian dual citizen was a leading voice during Egypt's Arab Spring uprising back in 2011. He went on to play an active role in protests against human rights abuses, among other causes. That activism led to multiple arrests and more than a decade behind bars. Both Abdel Fattah and his mother have gone on hunger strikes in the past to press for his release. A lawyer tells the Associated Press that he could be released within days. Russia and Ukraine traded deadly drone strikes today as world leaders get ready to discuss the ongoing war at the UN General Assembly. Local Ukrainian officials say Russian drone strikes killed 3 people in Zaporizhia overnight, while Russia says Ukrainian drones killed 3 in occupied Crimea. The strikes come as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's preparing for a very intense week of diplomacy at the UN. Meantime, the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting today to address Russia's violation of Estonia's airspace last week. Estonia is a NATO member, and in his first appearance as U.S. ambassador to the UN, Michael Waltz pledged American support for the security alliance.
I want to take this first opportunity to repeat and to emphasize the United States and our allies will defend every inch of NATO territory. Russia must urgently stop such dangerous behavior.
Russia's defense ministry denied any violation of Estonian airspace by its planes, but the incident has only added to concerns that the fighting could spread beyond Ukraine's borders. Here in the U.S., a 4.3 magnitude earthquake rattled the San Francisco area early this morning, with more than 20,000 people saying they felt the quake. It struck around 3 a.m. to the southeast of Berkeley, where some stores reported minor damage. Local media reported the effects could be felt as far south as Salinas, about 100 miles away. City officials say there have been no injuries reported so far. And an update to a story we told you about last week. A federal judge ruled today that a massive offshore wind project can move forward after it was abruptly halted by the Trump administration last month. The $6 billion wind farm off the coast of Rhode Island and Connecticut, known as Revolution Wind, was 80% complete. The Department of the Interior had called the project a national security concern. Today's ruling marks a setback for President Trump, who has long opposed and sought to restrict the wind industry. The Trump administration can still appeal the decision. On Wall Street today, stocks edged higher to start the week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 66 points on the day. The Nasdaq rose more than 150 points. The S&P 500 also ended in positive territory. And NASA announced its newest astronauts today.
These 10 men and women are your 24th astronaut candidate class.
The group includes engineers, earth scientists, military veterans, and more. They were selected from a pool of more than 8,000 applicants, and for the first time ever, women outnumbered the men. Only 370 people have ever been selected to serve as NASA astronauts, making it a very exclusive group. And this class must now complete 2 years of training before they're eligible for flight missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, or perhaps even Mars. Still to come on the NewsHour, Brazil's president discusses increasingly tense relations with the U.S. We speak with the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog about Iran's program. And Tamara Keith and Amy Walter break down the latest political headlines.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.